I'm Paul Levinson, and welcome to Light On, Light Through, episode 133, SpaceX Splashdown. Well, SpaceX Splashdown today in the ocean, just like in the good old days, in the dawn of human beings getting off this planet. We're talking about the 1950s and 60s, all those great astronauts. And those were very important developments indeed for the human species. But sadly, and for all kinds of reasons, we as a species haven't gotten too far beyond where we did get in 1969 when we landed on the moon for the first time. In fact, as human beings, we haven't gotten really anywhere beyond that. We have sent unhuman robotic probes to Mars, and that's certainly an important development. But I've always thought that we need full-fledged human beings, not robots, out there in space beyond our planet. Because as intelligent and as amazing as our AI and robotics are, they still don't hold a candle to what a human being can see and hear and understand on another world. So that's why I think today is such an important occasion. It symbolizes the rebirth of our space program. One thing has become clear over the decades, and that's that democracies as a form of government are not the most reliable foundation for getting human beings off this planet. And that's because, well, we have elections all the time. That's very good. That's the essence of democracy. But that also means that one year's Congress might not agree with what previous Congresses have done in the United States. And in fact, that's pretty much what happened and why our space program became so diminished after those fabulous moon landings. And as I'm sure everyone who's listening to this podcast knows, even our space shuttle program has not done too much in the last few years. So it looks like it's private enterprise that's going to at least be the cutting edge for now and in the immediately foreseeable future, at least for Americans getting off this planet. Now, I'm all in favor of other nations such as the Chinese. In fact, I'm a big supporter of Chinese space travel. I think that's an important part of the human reach beyond this planet. But we can't, as a species, be dependent on any one nation. People who are dependent on the Soviet Union getting off this planet, well, their space program pretty much fell apart after we beat them to the moon in the 1960s. And anyone who is dependent on the American space program, as I have just said, has not done very well since those halcyon days either. Now, private industry is no guarantee either. But it's good to have as many sources as possible that can lift us off this planet and get us out there in the universe. Now, why is this important? I could give you all kinds of scientific reasons, and they would be valid. We'll certainly learn a lot more in a scientific sense about the world around us, the world beyond us, and about us if we get off this planet and are able to stay there for a period of time. But I think even more important than that is we're never going to know who we are. We're never going to better understand our place in this universe if the place from which we consider that profound philosophic and religious question is limited to being down here on Earth. So I don't know about you. I'd like to know more about who we are. what role our species might be playing in this incredible universe that we find ourselves inhabiting. And I think getting off this planet, getting beyond the veil of planet Earth, is really the only way we'll ever be able to do that. I have to mention, over the years, one of my all-time favorite songs was Hey, Mr. Spaceman by the Byrds. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along for a ride? Well, that song, of course, was about a UFO and about an extraterrestrial visiting planet Earth. And the singer, known then as Jim McGuinn, later Roger McGuinn of the Byrds, who wrote that song, was talking about UFOs. But, as I was watching the Splashdown today, I was thinking we're now beginning to finally perhaps move into a existence in which we can sing Hey, Mr. Spaceman, or Hey, Miss Space Woman, and the entity that we're asking to take us along for a ride will be one of us humans. Not that I have anything against extraterrestrials. I think they'd be fascinating to get to know also. But so far, we haven't reliably seen any, at least none that have landed in Times Square or have visited CNN headquarters, as I always point out, wherever that might be. But what we do know is we humans exist here on Earth. And I think today is the beginning of a time when, if we were to sing Hey, Mr. Spaceman, we would be singing to one of us.
The Light on Light Through podcast.
Well, I hope you enjoy this little impromptu episode of Light on, Light Through. I told you I was going to be talking to you more often. This is my second podcast today, August 2nd, 2020. And I'll be back here real soon with another episode of Light On, Light Through. In the meantime, enjoy.
Athens, 2042 AD. She ripped the paper in half, then ripped the halves, then ripped what was left again into bits and pieces of history that could have been. Sierra Waters had read once that, years ago, it was thought that men made love for the thrill, while women made love for the sense of connection it gave them.
Curled Up with a Good Book says, Sierra Waters is sexy as hell. You can find out more about The Plot to Save Socrates by Paul Levinson at theplot2savesocrates.com.
Paul Levinson Silk Code about an ancient biotech war raging on in secret for centuries.